Hi, this is Shui with a review of a Adidas runner called the tencube, as in the A cube cushioning is what this cushioning concept was called. It was also called the bounce. So we had a previous version with a smaller A cube called the micro bounce, which I reviewed earlier. This is a much bigger, fuller version of bounce or the A cube cushioning. If I forgot to mention it before, it's all about this spine or this resistant band that provides a level of resistance when this cube is being compressed. So I wish they used something softer, something a little bit more giving. I don't think they should worry about durability. It's a bit rigid. It's a bit like an Air Max cushioning, but with a little bit too much of a psi, with a too high psi. The psi a little bit too high. So if this was softer, it would have been better. So I wish they use a softer spine next time. But it's not too bad though, compared to the super rigid and hard A-cube or bounce cushioning they used in the previous models in the 2000, early or mid 2000s, when they had the signatures for Kevin Garnett and Tim Duncan, where the A-cube was hard like rock. I guess they were designed for sumo wrestlers or something. We couldn't feel anything. It's just rigid. Uh, it's it doesn't feel too high off the ground, but it does have this little resistance here. You need from the heel counter to the outsole. It's better if it's carved a little bit towards here, so you'll have a faster first step when you're moving forward, and something of a better transition from heel to toe. So something like this is one of the biggest problem I had with shoes like PG4, which is got an amazing scribble airsole, but this really ate up its scorecard for me. They gotta stop doing this. I guess this is okay for people who need some stability when they're casually strolling or standing around or walking, but other than that, I do not see the need for this protruding, this level of protrusion here. The heel, if you look at it, it's transparent here, but you can see that there's another little opening there in the core. So it's similar to the Max 270s or the 720s, where it's sort of like a tube around, and in the core it's a foam cushioning. It's a little different because they do have this upper part. There's a whole plate, and then here it's open like a tube from there on. The micro bounce actually did a better job by having the core connected to a very thick polyurethane insole, which complemented the cushioning nicely. The midsole itself for the tencube is a little bit on the firm side. It still does a nice complementary job, provides a bit of a positive chemistry, works nicely hand in hand with the A-cube cushioning or the bounce cushioning. But I wish they would have used a softer foam, especially on the forefoot, where the bounce is still hard. At least on the forefoot, even if you see these plasticky bounce material, the core is foam. This is only around this area. So I guess this is called the tencube because it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on both sides. If you add it together, 10 cubes. Cute little name. Good thing they did not extend it all the way to the toes, so the toes you have a little bit of softness that you need. You don't need this rigidity on your toes, so extra level of softness here is good. On the heel, it feels like Maxer that's not too forgiving, but it's not too bad. It's better than the A-cubes they used in the mid 2000 models of the basketball shoes, which was rigid and hard as hell. So it's good that they carved out a lot of the unnecessary materials, so it's provides a little bit more flexibility and shock impact, guidance laterally. The outsole is really nice and deep. These patterns are diverse enough and thick and deep enough to provide adequate grip on various slippery floors, and also to provide a level of durability. It's also good that the outsole is right. The rigid A-cube cushioning is right near the outsole, and you have a layer of foam cushioning with the EVA midsole above it. So it's a nice complementary design. But at the same time, they could have used a much softer EVA foam. That would have made the ride a lot smoother, a lot better, and it may have reacted or responded with the rigidity, but rigid but decent shock absorption qualities of the A-Cube. The insole is quite pitiful. It's a super thin Orsolite insole. I believe I've not seen Orsolite insole this thin in ages. So if you're just casually standing around or walking around with them, you can go with this. But if you plan to actually do some workouts, jog or walk, or you do need some cushioning when you're standing around, make sure to switch them with other thicker Orsolite insoles. Or personally, I prefer the adidas polyurethane insoles that come with certain older models in the Adidas lineup in basketball, like the Crazy Quicks. That really gives, I guess, a lot more significantly better cushioning. You can very easily feel the difference when you switch the insoles. It weighs quite a bit. It's close to 500 grams for a size 9, so that's even heavy by today's basketball shoe standards, so that's a little weird. I do like the fused materials they use all over with the engineered mesh. It's relatively breathable, not crazy breathable, but decent level of breathable ventilation, I suppose. And there's good amount of extra durable fuse layers here on the toe box, and also the stripes, of course, to provide the additional lockdown. And the heel cup, there is a decent heel cup inside and another heel counter on the outside, without having any chafing or irritation with any bits and pieces sticking out or poking you. I like this little elf shoe or elf toe type of setup where you can slide your foot in. It's a little bit firm, but it doesn't cut into your Achilles, so it's good. It provides a decent level of support there. There's a decent level of padding around the ankle as well. It's good that Adidas is bringing back this technology that's been discarded over the years, but I wish they would do a little bit more research to provide more give, make it a little bit more responsive and softer, because already these are fairly hard and rigid type of cushioning that is reserved for sumo wrestlers, I guess, or someone really, really big. So I like the concept. I love the concept. It's way better than Nike Shox, where they just had 4 pillars of foam that's dense and they called it spring. So compared to that, this is more than just a marketing gimmick. They actually try to have a technological innovation. So let's hope the next one, they implement what they already used in their previous models, like having it more sharply carved here, so you'll have a faster first step instead of having it extend all the way here. Unless you like running backwards, maybe you'll need this.